Right, chicken. Yeah, it's been a while to do the live stream on YouTube, but I've been doing the weekly workshop on the school for a couple months, and yeah, I kind of started around September, I think, last year, and we did some weekly sessions with a few people, and sometime there's few people there, and sometime I don't see anybody there on the weekly sessions. So I decided to come up on the YouTube once in a while when um, I don't see the people in the school. But normally I'm doing the workshop on the school. So there it's more like a Zoom style, interactive, almost like a lot of times it's almost like a private lessons, semi-private lessons. If one or two people show up, then it's just me, and you can also be on the Zoom call, so it's like face-to-face style. But since since I like to take questions and reply, answering, and rather than just doing the workshop of like, hey, like you should do this and this and blah blah blah, because I believe everybody has a different topics that and different ways to work on music, and sure it's sure that I think like organizing the step by step lessons, that's also easier to follow without showing up every week and stuff. So that's something I've been also working on as well. But if you have any questions, let me know. In the meantime, let me set up the system so I can take I can see the comments both on the YouTube vertical and rectangle. Metal Band, hey, how you doing? Yeah, welcome. What's up? Yeah, the one feature that I need to test is that I think I was able to play the music through the browser on and share it on the live stream without making a loop. Anyways, if you have any questions, please let me know. I can work on that already. Yeah, how you doing? Thank you. I'm doing the both live stream on the Shorts tab and the regular YouTube rectangular tab, and let me know if the voice is uh, if you can't hear the voice or the guitar. Yeah, thank you for checking, and for lessons more over the next years. Lots of stress selling my apartment, moving to another country. Wow, yeah, that's quite a situation. And your family is doing the same transition. Yeah, this whole world, it's pretty changing, right? Yeah. Um, yeah, just some change in my life as well. I'll be staying in New York, but yeah, like this society is getting tight. I came from Japan, and like coming to US is a little bit of the relief in terms of the moving into the country where it has a little bit more freedom in terms of lifestyle in the music world. At least I thought that way a little bit, but yeah, like inflation in New York is pretty crazy. A lot of my friends struggling with finding apartments, and the price is high, and some prices not too good deal. Like people live in like 4 bedroom apartments in like Bushwick, Brooklyn, for paying over $1,000 needs these days. So yeah, and that's kind of one of the things that like the when the society gets tight, then everybody losing their time to work. So I see more and more, like, I mean, I think it's from the beginning, like back in the days, but it's difficult to find a time to work on the music. That's one thing I've been finding everywhere, and trying to find the way that, like, to not losing the time for whatever, like scrolling the internet, or yeah, focusing on something that we can we the thing, the way I feel like is that, like, like there's a system. If people are in in a good system, then we kind of live well. But the system is not good, then all kinds of problems rise up in like personal everyday life. And to cope with those problems, we need to make our own better system, you know, ourselves. So that's something I've been keep thinking about, um, in terms of the career in the music, and also try to make some contents, like contents, like partly a lot of my contents is like playing the fast licks. Those are things that, like attention grabbing stuff. But like I don't want it to be too much of just um another dopamine contents, rather than there should be some kind of educational or some kind of structure that eventually could help someone that going through the kind of similar path as I did. And greeting from Mexico. Hey, Valentina Sanchez, how are you doing? What's up? What's up? Yeah. Yeah. I like something like in the past few months. I was working a lot on the Patreon and the school as well. And something I kind of recognize again is that I like taking ideas from you guys and like giving the feedback and like question and answer kind of style. It's kind of helping me to keep that making more contents and making more better content. So I came here for that. So if you have any thoughts, any life events, anything to share, let me know. He has disposal. Yeah. Hey, Foxman Harden. Yeah, right. Let's see. Hope you succeed, man. Yeah, thank you. Used to live in New York. Yeah, awesome. Yeah, it's like I, I I hear people saying that New York changed a lot, and I've been here for over 12 years now. So yeah, like as a music scene, there's a lot of thing come and goes. I think it's as usual in New York. There used to be more jazz clubs, and it closed down. Then some new places came up, and the Manhattan is more of the bebop traditional stuff, and Brooklyn there's um some more new thing, or like young. I think it's just Brooklyn has more younger people. Yeah. So like especially Bushwick area, they have more experimental stuff compared to Manhattan, I think. But depends where you go. And I live in Queens, and I host a jam session every week here too, and try to make something new here. And that's also something new. It's I never seen anything happening in Queens back in the days, and now I see something. Yeah, I'm doing this in Woodside, Queens, and there's something going on in Astoria too. And yeah, and jazz scene in New York right now is because there's great educational schools. That's true. Yeah, I think a lot of people come for the school, and still some like legends are there. Like Reggie Workman, I think he still does the ensemble in New School, and Ed Cherry, I think he did some teaching at the Juilliard, and I've started to playing with this drummer Ronnie Brudge. He was in Wayne Shorter band. He was in McCoy Tyner band for a while, and they have a lot of wisdoms and stories and histories. So yeah, unlike any other places in the world for the jazz. Do you ever play wide neck electric guitar like 1.75? 1.75 inch is 4 centimeter. So this Gibson is pretty narrow, and I have the Nishigaki guitar. It's pretty thick, the width, and it's like almost like a classical guitar width, and that took me some time to walk around. But yeah, it's pretty unique. It's the main thing like is that I think the more you play the guitar, then you get used to it more. So it's not of the universal thing that this is easier to play and this is not, I think. But in general, it's if it's narrower, I think it's easier. Depends on the size of the hands too, I think too. But I like this one quite a lot, and over time I figured that I like the thicker width of the size, the depth. What was you call this? If this is bigger, if it's narrow neck and thin neck, I found difficult time adjusting myself a little bit. It's supposed to be good for the fast playing, shredding and stuff. But yeah, I have yeah, that Nishigaki guitar is very wide. Yeah, and there's some videos I'm playing that, so you can see like I kind of changed the style a little bit almost. And if I want to play some jazz guitar, what guitarists are at an intermediate level, not easy but has a bit of challenge. I want to learn some good songs but don't know where to start. Good question. Definitely like listening to older stuff like Wes Montgomery and some Grant Green. Like if you like blues funk stuff, then Grant Green is a little bit more close to that. He he has some simple passages compared to Wes, but the jazz, like chord progression and chord change and playing standards, I do recommend the guitarist from the um not King Cole band, not King Cole trio guitarist, Oscar Moore. Yeah, like anybody from like early 20th century, like Oscar Moore was born 1916. Wow. And yeah, there's a track, the Tangerine he played. It's a really nice Tangerine, Oscar Moore. That's a really nice track that's pretty slow and easy to play on the guitar. Let me check if I can play the music here. Okay, so now I'm playing the. Yeah, I think you guys can hear this one, right? Yeah, if Jonathan's still here on the shorts tab. This is one of the song I recommend to learn the jazz guitar. One of the kind of essential. Yeah, that like more you go the old school, the swing jazz. Yeah. So it's a Tangerine. Oscar Moore. Yeah, I think this one, right? This one is 59, recorded in 1959, and the credit is my pleasure. There's an Oscar Moore and Leroy Vinegar on the bass, but we hear two guitars and the bass, which I think he overdubbed the guitar. I mean, when people started like overdubbing on the recording, when like Les Paul did already, right? Les Paul was doing all the overdub stuff. Oh, speaking of the Les Paul, I met a guy who used to assist Les Paul, and he's now seems like a big producer, engineer, or music guy in New York. I met him at the Cellar Dog a few days ago, and I was supposed to send him some info because he also manages the entertainment in company. Let me listen to the solo again. This is just an arpeggio. Again, this is arpeggio too. You see, like that was kind of how I get the idea from Oscar Moore Tangerine. So it's two arpeggios. I mean, it's just arpeggios, and we know those arpeggios. But it always, if I hear something, and that kind of inspires me to do something else. And yeah, that's I do recommend. That's why I kind of recommend to transcribe. Working on transcribe is transcribing music is good. Eventually, we get more inspiration to make up our own stuff. Eventually, yeah. I've been back in New York since 1998. Oh, yeah, that's different times. I haven't been to about visiting anymore for 25 years. You just made me want to come back and visit for the first. Yeah, New York is fun. I think maybe any cities in the world about the big cities, like, I came from Tokyo and never really thinking about, well, yeah, I mean, it's not never, but I haven't really thinking about living there. But when I visit there all the time, it's pretty fun to visit. So maybe New York is kind of same. If you live there, there's so much going on. But if you just visit, and if you lived here, then yeah, it might be a little sad to see the old stuff gone and it's a little different. But yeah, it might be fun to check out some new things. And it's kind of interesting that, like, there's another generation of people hanging out in the city, and it looks a little different from before. How people hang out is a little different, I feel like, especially before COVID and after COVID. The style, but it's like a variation of how we live, and interesting to see. And let me turn off this dictation. How stop? Yeah, voice control, stop listening. Like, my iPhone and some of this Mac keep listening to what I'm saying and keep typing things that, like, yeah, I don't want to even type, and that makes me crazy. And sometimes I don't know how to stop it. It took me a while to make the pause for the iPhone, to be honest. I figured it out eventually, but yeah, thank you, Joshua. I got a guitar for Christmas, and I'm still getting used to the finger. Yeah, nice. Yeah, that's a beginning. Yeah, even Pat Metheny said he had a struggle playing the F chord in the beginning, and I was at his Carnegie Hall concert. It was funny that he figured out the F chord playing F major seventh by listening inspired by the listening Girl from Ipanema that was aired around that period from the TV, and it was easier than just playing bar chord. easier than playing barcode if you play the major seventh. So less pain to the beginner. It's supposed to be more complicated chord, but it's easier for some reason. And dials Mavis 67. Thank you so much. Yeah, I'm quite surprised so many views and followers I got past few years, and yeah, I don't know like that's when you first saw me and what, but it's amazing that I was able to um yeah, keep up with like creating content and get connecting to all of you guys in the world. And I didn't see that coming before. Big change before and after COVID. Yeah, right? Like, yeah. Like I was playing at the New Year's Eve gig last week at the KGB bar, which is still like old. I think it's still considered as a old New York bar. At least I know they've been there for since I came here, and the building is pretty old. I just recently found like my apartment where I live is also 100 years old apartment. It was just built in 1926. Pretty crazy. But KGB bar. It's pretty old apartment. No, pretty old bar, and there's young people hanging out. Everybody look young at this late. Like the New Year's Eve in the village, a lot of young people hanging out. But how they celebrate, like we did a countdown, and that's kind of like low key jazz bar ish place. So I see like people don't party like the other like commercially presented places somewhere in the Times Square or whatever. But it was pretty chill. Like we did a countdown and people were like yay, but I felt they're kind of like a little softer than like the generation before. I mean, maybe people party more hard, like the more people from like 80s 70s people who went through those periods, I see them partying pretty aggressively, like playing funk music and all that. That's something I used to do. Yeah, but New Year's Eve at the jazz bar was pretty chill. That's what I wanted to say. Anyways, so yeah, it's pretty fun hanging out here. And let's see, if you have any questions, let me know. And I'm gonna post this archive on our Patreon and school. Not sure what to do archiving in YouTube. Maybe unlisted. I'll see what comes up with my mind. But yeah, since I was checking on the Tangerine, let's see. Yeah, let's check some of the links and so like on the shorts tab, I got the comment about what a good beginner friendly jazz guitar recording, and because a lot of jazz guitar is pretty technically challenging, and my answer is if you listen to the swing jazz period, it's a lot easier than bebop. The thing is, bebop is difficult, and hard bop it's some of them are kind of okay, but still it came from right after bebop, so there's a lot of complicated stuff. And even I came from the metal background, so I was confident about like okay, I can play the first passage and all that. But like jazz fingerings, like playing the key changes, thinking about the chord changes, so stuff really messes up our mind if you don't know what to do. And the difference is pretty much the speed. If the speed is slower, then it's a lot easier to play, even there's harmony changes and all that. And if the song itself is already slower, then it's more easier to try, because we don't have to spend our brain energy too much to change the speed to, slowing it down by ourselves. Although we can still slow it down on the YouTube, just changing the speed of the playing setting. But yeah, like one of the things I teach sometimes in the lessons is that try to do the slow motion, slow mo mode. Some of the like teens I teach, like, okay, let's do the slow mo mode. Like we can play fast licks, but yeah, like being the slow and being comfortable is something quite challenging. And but at the same time, it's just we are not used to do it. And if you get used to it's going to be the normal. And I see a lot of people, a lot of very great musicians, they know how to really take it slow. So yeah, praise something. Yeah, so I was gonna do the Oscar Moore Tangerine review a little bit. And even this. Is this like this? Wow. The tuning is a little different because they changed the tuning a little bit. Isn't it beautiful? Scobie. I'm from Japan. I live in New York. I came to the United States like when I was 20, and that was almost like 20 years ago. But I'm from Tokyo originally. Yeah, I was born in Tokyo, Japan, and grew up in Japan. You know what this is? Let me play the music one more time. Oh, the very end, he plays something. Da 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 da. I hear do 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 or something that's counterpoint-ish. Oh, it was this one. I'm sorry. So I hear do 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 dee. That's like a melody. Then do 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 do. It's like a counterpoint. Do 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 dee. Do 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 dee. Along with the so do 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 dee and do 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 dee. Do 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 dee. And that came on the it's B minor. B minor 6. Da, 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 da. No, I'm sorry, it's E minor 7th and A 7th. I was kind of guessing from the theoretical point of view, but those were on a E minor. Huh. Six minor to 7th, and it's just a harmonizing minor scale with the minor third. And this is kind of like approach note, like melodic minor, harmonic minor stuff. Yeah, approach, half step approach note, that's kind of the way I think about it. Do, 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 do. And this is a A7th with a flat 9. Which just came from our E minor 7th arpeggio, E minor 9th, E minor 7th combined together. And instead of going to everything third at the end, he went to this full chord with A7th fret 9 and 13. was trying to make a variation of that chord Oscar played. Yeah, there it is. These trills are kind of also very um orthodox orthodox way of using the blues approach in the jazz. Instead of just playing the blue note, we can play those trills at a bunch of locations. Some of those things is that if we listen to the recording of like the people who can really play and sing the melody on the guitar, it doesn't sound like that. Like, okay, this is a simple arpeggio, but it sounds so different. It's supposed to be the same note, but it sounds so different. Yeah. What was your learning journey? Um, like, okay, maybe I should like put in a kind of different chapters I've been through. That's kind of something that it's easy to sums up what I've been through. And I started as a in the beginning I was doing the some okay I started from playing the classical guitar that was kept in my house. That was my father's guitar, and I didn't know he had one. And I was just playing the scale, the simple melodies. Then I went to Japanese pops. I was listening around 14 years old. Then I went to heavy metal at the high school. Then I went to music school in Japan after that. That has a partner program is Berkeley. So I studied jazz over there, and I studied with one teacher for 2 years, and we've been through all the standards, starting from Autumn Leaves, Jazz Blues, George Benson, some Taiga Okoshi funk stuff, funk fusion. Mike Stan was one of my teacher's friend, best guitarist he was admiring, and he had like Mike Stan sound with his thin line tele with chorus on all the time, and like Falling Glaze, all the uh, songs that Moments Notice, then Giant Steps, and he taught me pretty much everything, every theory, and I started going out to jam sessions. And there's another piano player, Masako Hamamura, another teacher I studied with, and she was more of the free improv, avant-garde style. That's I kind of really liked more than the regular fusion jazz stuff. But I got the I got the inspiration from both sides, like Ornette Coleman kind of thing, and Mike Stan, Pat Metheny stuff. And I started playing gigs. I had a band and recorded some music, some experimental stuff. And I went to Berkeley, and Berkeley was more of the very square jazz. Mick Guthrie was one of my teachers, and Hal Crook. He kind of, I liked how he expanded the free improvisation stuff, and I also studied like jazz composition and big band writing over there, and I started playing gigs, so yeah, that was my early 20s, up to early 20s. Then it was pretty nice, like in Boston. After finishing Berkeley, I started playing gigs with my band, my trio, and eventually I made an album playing through those gigs and making all the music. Like I think I wrote over 50 songs around that, up to that moment, and then I picked the 10 songs out of that to make a record. So that was yeah, something. I think it was more difficult if I started in New York, because like, man, it's so difficult to get like trio gigs in New York. So much competitions, and yeah, like less money too sometimes. Depends on where you are. But if you are in the school in New York, especially if you can do the both undergrad and masters, then that's pretty different story, because you can have more connection with the teachers and the local communities. But that requires quite a lot of money too. Hi Alex, how you doing? Yeah, so starting out of the heavy metal, and I was doing the heavy metal band in high school, and but like my school, didn't really have any musicians. Like here in US, just it's so common to have our peers who play music, and there's a music community here and there. But like I came from the countryside in Japan. After I was born in Tokyo, like my family relocated to the Fukushima, so that was pretty rural area. Nobody played guitar, and I was pretty much only guy who can shred in the high school, and then I had to go look for some opportunity, checking out the city area, which is relatively bigger than my city where I lived. And back in time, there's no social media, anything. We post stuff on the board. Now I feel like I'm kind of like old guy, but we post stuff on the music stores, like, hey, we are looking for the band members, and yeah, I try to hang out there, and I found a guys who there's another guys like who can really play, and one of the only guys who can really play in the area. So I started hanging out with them, and I ended up playing some bands. And one of the reasons I was kind of getting into those thing is that like there's another guitar player who can really play well, and I'm still getting in touch with him a little bit, and yeah, but like the way, one of the way of the career in the music is you kind of have to take somebody's spot. uh, and without, like, if you are thinking about like taking somebody's spot or not, like that's something that happens all the time. Like, okay, this guy is going to do this gig but he cannot make it, so you're gonna, yeah, sub, you're gonna be starting out as sub. And let me read one more comment. Do you think being jazz musician equal be not recognized and low demanded? I want to become one, but I see people who are blah 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 times more talented than me and they are nowhere near. I mean, the social media changed a little bit, and if you are, if you have certain sets of skills that not only jazz but somehow be, if you can become more creative and combine some other genres, for instance, like this these guys who's like mixing the video game music and the jazz, and some YouTube people, like I went to Berkeley with Adam Neely, and he still plays his Sangeza band, like, but if you talking about the jazz, more of the traditional stuff, then there is some career there, like kind of like elite jazz career. Yeah, like if, like a lot of thing is like there's like a lot of people hire jazz band for a party, for instance, in the States. And okay, there's some people play jazz at White House, some people play, okay, now it's another controversial stuff going on, Kennedy Center and stuff, but a certain aspect of jazz is tied to the like American um politics almost. And there's certain career path, like Wynton Marsalis went become big, being the head of the Juilliard. And yeah, like, okay, so jazz is at the Juilliard, now the jazz is becoming like classical music. That kind of makes sense. But yeah, but it requires a lot of luck, and like the playing jazz and making a career is such a privilege. That's something I feel like nowadays more and more. So if you get the chance to grab those privileges somehow, then there's a path. But like, it's pretty narrow, very narrow path, I would say. And however, if you can combine some skill sets, either education or some entertainment, creative entertainment area, yeah, you see, there's a lot of ways to you can actually be on outsmart other people who there's something interesting but they don't do jazz, because if you do jazz, you can really play lot more than the other people, yeah, who only know the certain skill sets in the music. Entertain rather than making music. Yeah, like entertainment is big part. Even like I make a lot of reels and thinking it's educational content, but matter of fact is also see them as kind of entertainment business a little bit, to entertain. Like if you see the fast licks, then okay, wow, like this is exciting. And even sometimes it's sloppy, but still kind of entertaining. and if you play the live gigs, it's more obvious that people, you can see the people's reaction. Like if you play fast passages, like people was like, yeah, okay. And so that, yeah, live music, entertainment, business, and all the stuff. And the good thing is everybody has different kind of unique sets of interests and skills. For instance, okay, like I say I came from metal and play jazz in New York, and I'm Japanese, and um yeah, so if you combine those kind of background, like you can kind of naturally, if you're lucky, you can kind of naturally figure out. But like in my case, I kind of have to think quite a lot of how to present myself into this big sea of the competition and stuff. But the only way is to play pop, but in a jazzy way. Yeah, so that's kind of one thing. And the Lonnie Prakiskov, who's the bass player, who's of the Art Blakey band, and he told me many times that R&B is jazz, and yeah, Michael Jackson is the jazz. And the reason why he said that is back in the days, people know jazz because jazz musicians, they play the pop music. So you you say that, right? Like the only way is to play pop, but in the jazzy way. Like, okay, so what John Coltrane did, like he played My Favorite Things. That was more popular music back in time. And if you listen to all the like Star by Starlight and everything, people used to know that because of the Broadway back in the day. And jazz musician played those music. So yeah, yeah. So like you said, the only way to play pop, it's like if you can present something to the bigger audience in a way that you want it to be. So that's kind of how we can kind of make a little bit of the wave in in the music scene. But I feel like the jazz related thing is kind of becoming more popular nowadays because of online. So yeah, if you feel the passion and if you find a way to improve your skill sets, and like do recommend go for it, because being unique is something, some kind of assets nowadays, like compared to before. I mean, before us too, but nowadays, especially neo jazz. Yeah, something, you know. And also, it's also good. Like being the traditional jazz player is also very great too. But at the same time, there's a lot of stuff going on in the jazz scene. And earlier today, I said that if the system is good, and if you have been the system, then like people can thrive without thinking too much. But if the system is not good and you are in a bad system, then you can be ended up being the bottom part of the system, which I encourage people to avoid. And yeah, so there's tons of stuff. A lot of people figure those things out in the forefront of, they've been, yeah, a lot of people figure out those things. So if you read those books of the great people and compare myself to other guys, and yeah, if you intake all the info, yeah, we can kind of learn quite a lot. Yeah, I have so much things to say about it. I feel like, anyways, I'm new subs. I've just seen your video. Praise Fly Me to the Moon. It was fabulous. I just want to know how long have you been playing guitar? Nas11. Hey, thank you for subscribing. And so I've been playing the guitar for a little over 25 years now. So it's been quite many years. And yeah, Fly Me to the Moon. Can you show us some cool chord voicings for jazz R&B stuff? And yeah, the one I was just working on today, Oscar Moore's Tangerine, was pretty cool. How did it go? Oh yeah, it went like this. It's like a sequence, 2/5 sequence. Yeah, it's on E7, E-7 to F7 in the key of G on the Tangerine. Yeah, I was listening. Let me check it again. This one. I mean, this could be like a sample of the hip hop stuff too. I feel like that was a beautiful riff, right? Yeah, it's very cool. Oscar Moore. And do you know Afro Brew by Grasper Experiment? Yeah. Dee da do dee da do dee da do dee da. I was playing some of the Spotify playlist other day, and there's another piano trio guys kind of covered Graspar's version of that. So they had dee dee doo dee dee doo dee dee dee, and I was like, I heard this one before, and it's not the original Afro Brew, but it's a Graspar's. Pretty cool. And yeah, he did really well, great job in introducing the jazz to the hip hop audience. Reintroducing jazz. Yeah. So yeah, like if you be creative and get some goal setting, and there's many ways to do things, which I wish I knew before, like years ago, like the mentality, the mindsets and stuff. Yeah. Can you play Eruption? Yeah. I used to play a little bit of that, and now I don't really know how it went. Like, I think it went like it goes down the half step like that, right? With all the. Yeah, the right hand tapping and stuff. something like that. Yeah, yeah, man. Yeah, let's play more music. 2006, 26. Best way to learn jazz improv, man. Like I just restarted transcribing the solos like every day again, and the best way is just memorize everything by ear. But since since it helps for me to keep doing, I like to see the thing that I've done in the past, which is it's not always the good thing. Like you can just forget about your past and keep it moving. But I like to see some kind of the proof I've done something. Otherwise, I forget everything. So that's a little bit of the age thing too. Like, yeah. But I started writing some of the solos little by little every day. Like, okay, this day I just only did this one lick. This which is Jackie McLean, What's New. And another day I played this like We See Thelonious Monk. And a few days ago I did this Milestones, Kurt Rosenwinkel. And yeah, one of the reason is I make the contents on online, the software, the sound slice, and which is very good. But like if you write something down, there's a lot more emotional thing going on. Yeah, you see, like. Oh, anyways, it's like a personal journal almost. Yeah, yeah. It's pretty bright, and so yeah, I recommend transcribing the music and then come up with something on your own. And take 5. Okay, all right. Like even these songs, like I can kind of play, but like some certain stuff, I was trying to find the notes by ear, especially the B section. And those things, like I can take some time, and if I just slow it down and repeat. Alright. Okay. No. Yeah. don't think it's kind of similar to transcribing. Like I hear something in my head and put it together, and that's kind of similar to we transcribe the existing solos. Like so, transcribing really trains the ability of the music that we hear into our own playing, if I put that way. And how old are you? I just turned 30, 39 last week. Yeah. Um 86. Yeah, born in 86. Favorite jazz guitarist? I would say Wes Montgomery. Yeah, and Pat Martin is awesome too. Who else? I kind of went through, like, like I said, I came from the metal, and I went to fusion. Alan Holdsworth, Pat Metheny, John Scofield, Mike Stern, Bill Frisell, Kurt Rosenwinkel, and I was listening to Wes all the time. But the more I got into the later years, then okay, Ed Cherry, he's still around. He was in Dizzy Gillespie's band, and Peter Bernstein, Ed Cherry, those kind of two guys are still around in New York. And yeah, I really love Ed's playing. Yeah, such a sound they got. Oh, and there's this Japanese guitar player, like he's like early 20s, I think. Hirata, I think Koichi Hirata, and I'm big fan. He's he got all the licks and phrasing and time feel. One of the videos in Japanese, he was explaining about the time feel, and that was pretty interesting and cool to practice along with the metronome, like trying to play steady with laid back a little bit. So yeah, Kenny Barrell and Barney Kessel is some of the chord work of the Barney Kessel, and Oscar Moore. To be honest, I wanna hear more of Oscar Moore's playing, and yeah, I haven't really digged in deep enough to check him out too much. But yeah, let's listen to this Tanjay again. Oh wow. Yeah, my ears not doing the Hmm. This is really cool. Yeah, maybe I make some tabs or some contents of that kind of stuff. But anyways, yeah, thank you guys for tuning in, and yeah, I really like doing the live stream, but when I do, like, I don't know when to end. That's kind of my problem. But I got go soon, because I read that I have to stand up once in like an hour or so, and I've been doing like almost 90 minutes. So that was again. It's a Oscar Moore tangerine, Oscar Moore with Leroy vinegar, and yeah. So check it out, and I'll probably make some kind of contents out of this too. And so the every week I'm doing the online workshop on the school. That's kind of how I started this today. And if there's someone shows up on the school, I go there, and it's gonna be something like a Zoom call. You'll be over there face to face. And now only I have like 6 members on the school program, so it's most likely private lessons a lot of times, and sometimes nobody shows up. So when nobody shows up, I come on a YouTube. That's something I've been thinking about, and do the live stream like this. So have to, yeah, do this again, and probably see you next week. And again on the school thing, I'm doing this limited offering, that 30-minute private lesson for everybody, for a couple months, like monthly 30-minute lesson slash checkup. Um, if you're serious about learning stuff, like, the thing you need to do is basically work on the music and practice. And like we talked, that transcribing really helps. So I encourage everybody to transcribe in my community. And what you need is pretty much the checkup once in a while. Yeah, to, like, see the progress together and stuff. So that's something I, I was thinking about. Like, now I got a lot of people subscribe and join on a Patreon, both free and paid stuff. But Patreon has a limitation of, like, Patreon can be just passive content website that you don't necessarily actively join. And so I started up the school to see if anybody's interested in like joining more active way to very improve playing together. So if you're interested, let me know, and I'll be there pretty much every day. And thank you for the music analysis and the company coming up 3 a.m. in London. All right, yeah. All right, thank you for watching and tuning in from almost like a beginning. Man, Monsieur Monsieur Haku, and yeah, and see you next time hopefully, and have a good night. And if you are from the other side of the world, good morning, and see you next time. Yeah, thank you everybody. Let me turn it off until next time. All right, bye now.